Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Blitz Racing Network. My name's Sam Dyer. With me is Matt Dyer, and we are going to be giving you coverage of the Twigi iRacing series here tonight. It's race number 23 of the season, but what's more important, this is a cutoff race in the playoffs. This is the cutoff race from us going down from 8 drivers down to 6. And there's a lot of competition on who is going to move on from here. Now, the last time these drivers hit the track was 2 weeks ago. We weren't able to give you the coverage then, but it was Elliott Drummond locking themselves into the next round and dominating at the Roval. But tonight, it's a different kind of a beast. It's the concrete. It's the madness. It is the last great Coliseum here at Bristol as the drivers get themselves ready to go rolling for 150 laps. Currently, the drivers are getting done with qualifying, but the 3 drivers on the line that we are going to keep our eyes out for going to be Brandon Gregg, that of Doug Tuttle, as well as going to be that of Patrick Hernandez. Those 3 drivers are battling it out. One of them will not move on to the next round. The other 2 will, as we already have 4 other drivers pretty much locked in. Merrick Watchor and Elliott Drummond, they got their wins. They're already locked into the next round. Then we've also got that of Jacob Elkins and Jono Lynch that are feeling good for themselves, as Patrick Hernandez is going to be the last driver to qualify, going through the corners to set up this first lap. Matt, Bristol, the last great Coliseum, the fastest half mile in the world. This track certainly should be a handful, with Hernandez's first lap putting him 6th.
Absolutely. There's so many different lines that you can take, and really you have to attack each different line kind of different in how you really want to do it. If you want to use the outside line, you're really going to burn up your right front. But if you run the low line, you potentially could save your right front and maybe make the low line last longer. But it passing is going to be huge. You really want to get your passing done at the beginning of a run, because it's going to be extremely difficult at the end of a run.
That it will be. And for all these drivers, they've got 5 extra sets of tires to work with. And this race is going to be a lot to handle, as qualifying has come to a close tonight. The drivers racing for the cutoff. Again, 3 drivers. That's Brandon Gregg, Doug Tuttle, as well as going to be that of Patrick Hernandez. And for Doug Tuttle, he was known as Douglas Carlson, changing up the name for the rest of the season, Matt. So we're hoping that we don't get too mixed up, but there are going to be a lot of new names coming into this race, as we've been seeing that switch up throughout the season of new names popping in and out. Tonight's going to be the same scenario of a couple of more new names popping in.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely going to be interesting for, especially the last name. It's so tempting to say Turtle.
That it is. It's so close to Turtle, and we know it's not Turtle, but it might slip out every once in a while. And Doug, hopefully you don't get too mad at us for that. As qualifying comes to a conclusion, let's take a look at where the qualifying results are for these drivers here tonight. We got 14 drivers potentially hitting the course, and topping the board from qualifying, it's the driver that's dominated this whole entire season. It's Merrick Watchorn in the 91, but with Riley Marabello going to be back for some racing action, going to be on that high side for row 1. Row 2 finds Elliott Drummond, the winner from 2 weeks ago at the Roval, with Brandon Gregg, a driver who needs a great run here tonight, going to be 4th. Same for Patrick Hernandez. Patrick Hernandez comes in as that driver outside looking in. He'll start 5th, with that of Maurice Gomillion 6th. Then, into the next rows of drivers, we find that of Kyle Smith, some of the newcomers into tonight's race, with Dennis Crosby going to be in 8th place. John Bualda Jr. didn't practice well, qualifying a change of pace up to 9th, with Elliott, that of Jacob Elkins, going to be in that of 10th. Douglas Tuttle going to be in that of 11th. He needs to be moving up if he wants to move on to the next round. But then we've got some other drivers. That of Doug Betts going to be in that of 12th. And the final 2 drivers, John Lynch and Brandon Carroll, going to be those 14 drivers here this evening. Matt, Bristol, again, a track that's going to be difficult, all about finding that rhythm. But again, there are no stage breaks for these drivers. What are you expecting to see here in the early going?
I expect people to maybe take it a little bit easier, not out of use their bumper, but as the race goes on, your patience is going to dwindle down a little bit. So I expect it to be pretty chaotic.
As we're going to again have 14 drivers ready to go, the first lap of formation all set up. Now we got the 1 to go indicated by the pace car, and everyone through as for that of the 86 machine, starting in 11th place. Going to be a tough task, but he needs to make sure that he's at least one position, if not two positions, close to Patrick Hernandez. If Hernandez is ahead of that of Douglas Turtle, of that of Doug Turtle. Again, these drivers, a lot of different perspectives. For Brandon Gregg, he just needs to finish inside of that of the top 8, and he'll be locked into the next round. But up front, it's been drivers that have found themselves in the victory lane before, of that of Merrick Watchorn. As we see that of the pace car pull off, it's time to go Bristol racing action for 150 laps. We're green here tonight and heading into turn number 1.
Absolutely. As we see, Hernandez is trying to jump to the outside maybe a little bit too early, but on fresh tires, you really want to take advantage of that low side. This is when you can grab someone early here in the run.
And speaking of trying to grab something for the lead, it's going to be that of Riley Barbello, who is trying to take the lead and will do so for the 52 machine, pushing Merrick Watchorn back to second. And Merrick Watchorn, we've seen in throughout the playoffs and coming to the end of the regular season, he's been beaten and battered all around, has not been 100% dominant, but this 91 always a threat to win. And here he goes down low, takes out Riley. They're going to stay sideways. Here comes that of Drummond, who goes into contact with the 91. They'll stay side by side, but Riley Barbello holds on for the lead for now. But Patrick Hernandez gets a position, or will he? Watchorn fights back for third, and a little bit of a shakeup, and Watchorn not giving up. He'll throw it back down for second place.
That is trying to bite off more than you can chew. He dove it out on the inside of this in the 52 of Riley. Just closed the door on him.
Yeah, Riley Barbello going to be one of those drivers really try to cut down there. But Merrick Watchorn, I think one of the drivers who knows, hey, he's locked into the next round. He can get aggressive. Same for that of Elliott Drummond. These two could technically wipe each other out and still be okay. They're moving on to the next round. It's that of Patrick Hernandez, who's behind them, backing off just slightly and watching our top 3 pull away, but not the worst thing in the world if you're this 19 machine, because you're in a good spot, being that 4 positions ahead. There's going to be a switch back from the 29 of Drummond trying to take that position back, but Watchorn, just too much speed from that outside lane.
Yeah, the momentum just carries you down right now. If you are Elliott, you really have to be committed and be potentially aware that if you try to do a slide job on the guy that's on the outside, he will run into you and use and abuse your bumper so that you don't get around him.
And also with what we're seeing from Merrick Watchorn, he's got to be careful. He's going all the way up into that outside lane and almost brushing that outside wall, which that could be used and abused a lot here tonight, especially if at the right spot. I can give you a great launch onto the straightaways.
Yeah, there's a very small sweet spot in iRacing that you can use to gain more speed, but it's a very fine line between just tapping it and touching it. If you just tap it just a little bit with your rear end, it's fine. As we see Mary getting a little bit touchy, and turns him and spins the 52 around.
That's going to be signs of if Riley can get up to Watchorn. That is the second time that the 52 has been spun. That time he was bumped and run completely off the track and around. And that's not the cleanest way to do a bump and run. That's just driving through somebody.
Yeah, but I mean, and it's not Riley's fault either. Riley was running a line, and I don't think he was expecting Merrick to throw it down the inside, the first time, and that just seems like Merrick just got a little bit impatient.
And watching this replay back, interesting comms over the radio as I'm listening in. Merrick Watchorn making a statement that he was on the brake trying to woe it up, but obviously that was not the case on what we see on screen. He just ran right into him and then continued around, and not much you can do in that situation. But Matt, I mean, it really looked like initially maybe, yes, he was trying to slow down, but then just driving through the 52 after you had got him loose, that's the aspect where I don't imagine he really was on the brakes.
Yeah, I guess 2 wrongs don't make a right, but but it's all right.
Yeah, I mean, 2 wrongs, spun them the wrong way around, that's for sure, as we're going to be seeing these drivers into pit road will be the 52 and going to get some repairs done. Potentially think about using that fast repair, but wouldn't be advised to do so. All these drivers do have one fast repair to work with. It's practically a way to give your car, your truck, a brand new truck. Doesn't give you new tires. It's whatever tires you have on the vehicle, but resetting all the damage, giving you a clean truck to race this thing out, which is a nice safety net. I think that also could be the reasoning why we saw Merrick Watchorn getting so aggressive, knowing it's the first couple of laps. If there wasn't a fast repair, I would imagine we would see a lot more conservative driving, but because everyone does have one on top of Watchorn already being locked in the next round, Riley's not even a part of the playoffs. That's where we're seeing this over aggression really being shown.
Yeah, I mean, with Bristol and like the short tracks, your aerodynamics don't really matter all that much. So if you do get a little bit of damage, sometimes your vehicle drives even a little bit better. But here at Bristol, the only time you really want to touch that fast repair is really only when you have your engine damage. So I would hold on to it as long as you can.
And that is exactly what Riley's going to do. Hold on to it. He'll be their only driver coming to pit road so far. Until you see the pace car make the hard left-hander, we're back to green flag racing here at Bristol. And it's going to be watching Merrick Watchorn trying to get through the gears, but it's really the battle for second that's starting to get a little bit hot and heavy. So 91 is gone. We look back from the back bumper of the 91 machine. You see Elliott Drummond trying to still make that inside lane work.
Yeah, like you just see, the beauty of really what happened when they repaved, this whole track is it allowed so many different lines for people to use and take advantage of.
In so many different ways you can attack. Again, you're seeing all the different lanes being utilized. Merrick Watchorn going with the extreme high line. Elliott Drummond going all the way down low, and then everyone else behind Drummond kind of running that middle lane where they're going to feel the most comfortable, which, Matt, it seems like for Bristol, that is the ultimate goal. Find the comfort so you can just run these laps down.
Yeah, so you don't want to push too hard. You definitely just want to take advantage of really, because if you do run the middle, it kind of gives you the ability to control both lanes, where if you're only running one of the lanes, you're kind of opening up for someone else to take advantage of like whatever lane you leave open. So it definitely is a good shot to battle someone, make them use their bumper to move you out of the way if you continue to run.
Well, we are 20 laps into this 150 lap race, and we see 130 laps to go. And that of Merrick Watchorn still feeling very comfortable about using that extreme high line, but the battling that's getting close and the drivers to watch out for. Going to be in 7th place, where we find the 86 of Doug Tuttle, who needs to find himself moving up more positions. Currently, right now, if he finishes where he's at compared to where Patrick Hernandez is, he's going to be kicked out of the playoffs by that of 2 points. And Matt, looking at the playoffs and how the drivers can earn points, each position from second on back is a 2-point difference per position. But if you win this race, it's a 5-point difference from first to second, and totaling up to that of 45 points these drivers can take if you win this race. Otherwise, it's 40 or less from second on back.
Yeah, definitely puts an emphasis on like winning. So it is nice to see that most that this league does that, because most leagues do not put it to where winning a race means it really comes down to stage points. But it is nice to see that the leagues out there are still doing the points.
And then right in front of this 86, it's the 19, Patrick Hernandez, and the 55 of Kyle Smith. They're starting to get side by side as Carlson's starting to go backwards, but Hernandez making this outside lane work, but being pressured by the 55 machine and holds off for that position. And for Patrick Hernandez, he is 4 points off of that of Doug Turtle, and now he's going to have to find himself how to get by that 86. And he's already done so with qualifying. Now it's to keep him behind. Well, Brendan Gregg, on the other hand, has quite a nice buffer for himself. It's a 14-point buffer, so he just has to make sure he's 7 positions up from that of Patrick Hernandez. And right now he's already doing that by being just a position above him and not even allowing the 14 to be in front. This is 19 machine. You've seen all the other battles. Jacob Elkins, who's one of the drivers that's practically pointed his way into the next round, tied for 3rd in points. with that of John Lynch. Feeling good with where he's at this current moment, as for this driver has quite a big buffer to work with compared, but right now the 9 Matt just seems like not feeling too comfortable, trying to figure out how to get by this 86, but now into this run, we're 30 laps in, those tires don't seem to be sticking as well as they used to.
Yeah, I mean, like the truck does have still a lot more throttle time than the other series do, but yeah, it is just so hard to get past here on like older tires because really the preferred line is the outside, just because you can keep your momentum up, stay ahead of someone, as we see Elkins be able to keep his truck there, and like he was able to slide up. I wonder if Doug like ended up lifting and giving that position, not realizing it was too early in the race to do that.
Yeah, I think it might have been getting pretty close to that outside wall, backing off, and now he'll go to a comfort zone in the middle lane and not going to be trying to put too much pressure as Jacob Elkins now up to 7th place. But for that of the 52 of Riley Barabello, he's back to 9th place. He's moved up a couple of positions. Now, he was leading this race, fell all the way back to last after being spun by Merrick Watchorn, but now being heavily pressured by that of Doug Betts. And Doug Betts in the 33 certainly trying his darndest to get by the 52, but Barabello, going to be a driver that qualified second, was leading this race in the early going. He needs a lot of help, but we will now switch up to the lead because there's been a swap there, and it might be another swap as that of Elliott Drummond's made the pass on that Merrick Watchorn, and Watchorn now going to be in another spot to try to follow, and will he use the chrome horn to move another driver?
I mean, things do happen more than once, so like, we'll see how that goes. But I mean, a solid move, by Elliott to get the job done.
Gets the job done, and it looks like for that of Drummond, he's starting to pull away. So we'll fall back to that battling we were watching before for 8th position, as it's going to be that of Tuttle going to be still stuck on the high lane, but that momentum and the surge up, building up the speed, still working out for the 86. But here comes potentially the bump, as John Lynch going to be now in the fray here, trying to make his moves.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, like, especially where you are with Lynch right now, you're kind of hoping that one of them clears them, so then you have a chance. Riley almost tries to close the door on Doug, but with like good awareness, not to fully go and fully continue.
And gets a little bit of a tap entering the corner, but he's clear, and now he'll start to take off for the 52. Gives an opportunity now for the 90. Just trying to stay at the quarter panel, and he'll be just there, but needs to see a mistake by the 86 machine. And Tuttle going to be trying his best, and a little bit of a squeeze, and not the best entry for the 86. They'll be side by side, almost rubbing doors on the exit, and they will rub into the wall. Will be the driver that needs a great run, the 86. Tuttle now falls back another couple of positions.
Yeah, I saw them, enter the corner and stay close throughout the whole, corner. So I knew it was going to be close on exit, and as you see, huge right side damage on that 86.
And he'll scrape the wall once again, and this is not looking good for a driver that needs to be in front of Patrick Hernandez. And for Patrick Hernandez, he has been Mr. Consistent, and he's doing it once again here tonight, up to 4th place. And then you look at some of the other drivers that have Brandon Gregg. He's been able to get by that Merrick Watchorn. Watchorn is going backwards for himself on this leaderboard.
It looks like he's coming to pit road.
Lap 45, and already going to be seeing our first sign of drivers into pit road. Not the fuel limit for these drivers, 37%. Could be a sign that they have to come into pit road now.
And like the one thing with coming to pit road on the green is you don't just come in on the front stretch. You have to enter coming off in turn 2, drive all the way down the back stretch, come around 3 and 4, and then come down the front stretch. So huge time loss if you can stay out, especially if you were Riley, who came down and got fuel at that last caution. He's sitting pretty right now too, and but with this is because with how good tires are here, it's going to be a huge advantage if it stays green from there.
And more drivers going to be coming into pit road. That of Kyle Smith. Patrick Hernandez just got to his box. That of Doug Tuttle going to come into pit road. A couple of other drivers in a missed pit entry look to be for that of John. Thought I saw a missed pit road launch for some drivers, but drivers actually came back out on pit road. That was the 91 of Watchhorn that we saw on screen. But a lot of drivers shuffling, coming into pit road. We got that of about 5 drivers still needing to come in. Brandon Gregg, John Lynch, Jacob Elkins, and as well Brandon Carroll still needing to come to pit road as everyone else are trickling in. We saw there really slow is the 40. Oh no, contact for the 90 machine into the outside wall as now he'll come into pit road. And with all these drivers trickling in, a couple have had to use a fast repair. Merrick Watchhorn has used a fast repair, as well as Kyle Smith. We'll see if John Lynch is going to use his fast repair once he gets into pit road, as Brandon Carroll stays out on track for the 10, and the only driver yet to come into pit road. And even for those that decided to stay out, Riley Barabello did come into pit road, even with the extra fuel that they packed in.
Yeah, like, well, I guess that was. I mean, he didn't take tires during that caution that he came down, so it was probably more of tires situation where he didn't want to lose too much time to those guys who were taking fresh rubber.
We keep our eyes on this number 10 machine. Brandon Carroll waiting for a yellow to come out, and it's just not looking like it's going to. And no, I take it back. There it comes out. Yellow flag. And surprised to see it, and it's the driver that already took a fast repair, the 55 of Kyle Smith.
Oh, that traps every single person a lap down and makes it to where Carroll, regardless if he comes down in pits, he is going to be still the leader. And he will have to make everyone. This is just a huge gift to Brandon Carroll.
And you also see on the ticker, lots of drivers 2 laps down. We got 5 drivers. We got 1 driver that's on the lead lap. That's Brandon Carroll. Merrick Watchhorn's going to get the lucky dog. Then taking the waiver rounds, expected to be Elliott Drummond, Brandon Gregg, Patrick Hernandez. So we'll get back onto the lead lap. But then it's Riley Barabello, Jacob Elkins, John Boala Jr., Tuttle, Lynch, all going to stay at least 1 lap down, if not more. As we're checking out this incident, I mean, Matt, it's just a self-spin. Fresh tires, wasn't expecting the overcorrection.
Yeah, it's really the only time that people will get loose is on fresh tires here. Because like once you get into a run, it just gets too tight, and it's just too tight to to self-spin.
And it just snowballs even more for the 86 machine. Doug Tuttle came in, the bubble driver of 6th position in points, and now going to find himself going even further back. This is a struggle for the 86 now. Brandon Gregg, Matt, I don't think he entered the way that he was supposed to into pit road. We'll have to wait and see if he gets a black flag for that entry.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a dual pit road, and I know the 44 I think also did the same thing during green. So, but
looks like not going to be penalized. So it looks to be all right, but that of Mauricio Million was penalized on his stop. Same for that of Dennis Crosby. He was penalized when he came into pit road. And now we wait and see. It looks like the 10, he's going to be all clear, going to be back out on track. No black flag. And expected to be back leading this race as everyone else is going to be trying to take a wave around. But Matt, I got to say, I think the driver that's going to be in a weird spot, usually when you get the lucky dog, you go to the end of the line. I think Merrick Watchhorn's still going to start just in 2nd place.
Yeah, we will have to see, depending on if it does the wave around, like if it puts it behind him or not. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it should, and it's a huge gift to Merrick too. But yeah, just huge advantage to Carroll right now, especially on the tires. There's about a 10 lap difference between Carroll and Watchhorn, so it's going to be interesting to see.
Brandon Carroll, how will this advantage work in their favor? Merrick Watchorn on the older tires now than even Elliott Drummond, Brandon Gregg, and even Patrick Hernandez. They're going to be on the lead lap. And then from 6th on back, everyone going to be 1 lap down or more. And, I mean, Matt, this is those bizarre moments. This usually happens at the shorter tracks when green flag pit stops are underway. You always know that a yellow flag is potential once you get some fresh rubber on and the yellow flag hits. Now everyone racing around trying to get back behind their leaders as they're about to be going green flag racing and bringing it shades to when NASCAR would do single file starts, as they're going to extend the caution as not enough drivers were back in line. And I think this actually could be helping out these drivers. But Matt, we're going to have a single file restart right here.
Yeah, it's really bizarre, but it also puts Carroll in an even better position. That he's not having to worry about a guy on his outside. He can run whatever lane he wants.
As I believe that of Riley Marbello kind of got the miscue of taking off. And he'll have to slot back in line. And for the 52 machine, this is also another opportunity for Riley Marbello to try to get some revenge. So they're going to be right behind Merrick Watchorn. But everyone else that just took the wave around, they're going to be behind lap traffic up front. Brandon Carroll, Watchorn, Elliott Drummond, Brandon Gregg, Patrick Hernandez. They're scattered all throughout this field. We got lead lap cars all over the place. And we are back to green flag racing here tonight at Bristol, and Merrick Watchorn isn't waiting for nothing. He's back underway, and caution weighs immediately.
Kind of a peculiar start.
I just got the word, Matt. Wrong button was pushed. And this has happened before. And I know it's not purposefully happening, but now this is Merrick Watchorn's actually accidentally done this before, and it's helped in his advantage. And honestly, this kind of helps everyone else. And this puts Riley Marbello, he'll have to go to the end of the line. He'll no longer have to restart behind Merrick Watchorn for potential revenge. He'll now have to be back on the lead lap, but go to the end of the line.
Yeah, but something else I just noticed is that Elliott Drummond has dropped out of the session. I'm not sure what happened to him.
Yeah, and he was one of our top contenders to try to help this thing out. And race admins have now changed it. We're going to be to the 2 to go marker, so everyone's trying to stack up as quick as possible. Riley Marbello, sorry, taking the wave around. They're going to go to the end of the line. And we were going to be having these drivers in an interesting spot. But, oh, no, Riley Marbello is trying to come into pit road to get a pit stop done. But by the time that this 52 is done with their pit stop, we're going to be going back to green flag racing.
Oh, boy.
And I don't think he was expecting Merrick Watchorn to throw the yellow out and then advance it. So that's going to hurt this 52. And instead of having the lucky dog, he most likely will go back a lap down. Oh, this is a worst case scenario. Oh, boy, Matt. You hate to see it, because right now into pit road is going to be the 52, trying to get service done and get back out there on track. We're on the back stretch currently for the drivers, and it's a top off with fuel. As we're about to get back to green flag racing, and it looks like 52 just... It's not a what if. He did. Penalty, black flag to the 52, as we are going to be back to green flag racing. Marbello might luck into just an EOL penalty, but I think he has a drive-through now as we're back to green flag.
When things go wrong, they just go worse.
And Brandon Carroll put it in the wrong gear. I think he might have been in second gear while everyone else was in first, and now drops back. Had the freshest tires out there. Now going to be back to 4th place and falling back into even more trouble as Merrick Watchorn has Patrick Hernandez, Brandon Gregg. This race has just been turned upside down. We don't know what's going on, as we are now on a lap 67. 84 laps to go, and it's the 91 leading the way as, oh no, John Lynch gets loose for the 90 machine. He holds on, almost wrecking in front of Brandon Carroll. He'll fall back, losing position, and that's worst case for John Lynch, mainly because he was in position to get the lucky dog spot. And right now, it's the 9 machine of Jacob Elkins that's in the lucky dog position if a yellow comes out. Still looking like we need at least one more pit stop for the drivers before they can make it to the end. Could be 2 pit stops with how close it's going to be from when they need to come to pit road again.
Yeah, if it's similar to what the fuel run was to that first run where Merrick went 45 or 46 and everyone else went 48. If you're Riley, even though you're only 1 lap down, as you see him dropping the pit road to drive to do that service,
I think Riley might. You continue, Matt.
He if it ended up working out for him, he would have been the one to look out for because he would have had enough fuel to potentially make it on 1 more stop where everyone else is pretty close on a 2 stop here on out.
And for Riley, he has looked to be pulling into pit road and could be calling it a night for the 52 machine. So 2 just call out their duns. Going to be for these drivers as we continue to watch the 90 machine being heavily pressured by that of the 2 laps down 55. And as they continue to race all over the place, the one driver that's been our constant is, oh no, Kyle Smith holds on. That was a moment for the 55 as he'll lose all that time and fall back to the clutches of Doug Betts. And Betts in the 33, actually that's the 22 that he's getting caught up by. That's Dennis Crosby. And Riley Marabello has officially called in tonight. That 52 is out, the 29 is done. We'll see if they're going to show up for next week's race as drivers further up ahead trying to just have their own type of runs and keep themselves clean if possible.
Yeah, it looks like John Lynch is really struggling with that rear end. It just continues to keep him to want to step out. So it's interesting to see how those guys were running on those long runs, and now they're trying to get used to newer tires.
New tires starting to hurt some, but at the same time, Matt, I mean, it's been 30 laps into this stint. We've had a couple of yellows to allow these drivers to take these tires a little bit longer, but the battle for second, side by side, as Jacob Elkins has made the pass. And Jacob Elkins trying to unlap himself the hard way, but it's going to be now 3 seconds difference between the 9 to our leader as a little bit of contact for the battle for second place between the 2 and the 19.
Yeah, I think Brendan Gregg tried to get a little bit too eager on the throttle and really try to get on the throttle but not get up into him. And I think he maybe turned the wheel a little bit too much when he got back to the throttle and it just went to step out on him.
And just trying their best. Brandon Carroll, though, got to give credit to the 10. He has rebounded since the restart. I think he just went with a lot more of a passive approach, and yellow flag comes out, and oh no, it's the 90, Matt.
You can only flirt with danger for so much longer before it bites you in the butt.
And for the 90 machine, he'll continue to run. Luckily, does have a fast repair if needed. But I think it's going to be tires that's mostly needed for the 90 machine. Again, these drivers had 5 extra sets to work with, so you easily could take practically a set each caution that comes out so far and still have at least 2 sets for the rest of this race. As we take a look at the replay that brought out this most recent yellow. Again, watch out for the 90 machine, and the blue and white comes out of turn 2, and away he goes.
Yeah, but it wasn't too much damage if he still has, he still has 4 RPM. I would still hold on, wait.
And with the timing of this yellow, I believe that Jacob Elkins will begin and will do so. He'll have that lucky dog position to the 9. He'll be back on the lead lap, giving us 5 drivers on the lead lap once again as pit road gets busy. And everyone, most likely, pit road, fuel, tires, and that, we're 68 laps to go. We still have 1 more pit stop, even if you pit now.
Yeah, I think with how many laps they had on their tires, I think you almost had to. I mean, if you are, Jacob Elkins and you were a lap down, I think with staying out, that might have got you, your lap back, but then you would have had to pit, maybe 10 the 12 laps later on. So I think it's a good call for everyone to come in right now because it puts you in a lot better position.
It really does. And also want to give a report on the 52. What happened to Riley Marbello? Had the black flag that we called out. Never served it in time. Was out there for too long. You got 3 laps to serve it before they'll DQ you. That's exactly what happened to the 52. Disqualified from the race. That's why he's done.
Just unfortunate because he had a really solid qualifying spot and he has shown some speed for the whole race so far. It's just unfortunate.
Really is. As Jacob Elkins gonna fall back, but under pit road, fuel only for the 19 machine, while everyone else went with tires. That's a bizarre call from Patrick Hernandez, I gotta say. He still has 4 sets of tires in pit road. We're past halfway. I mean, you've got sets, use them at this point. You're now gonna put yourself on the back foot, and now for Patrick Hernandez, he's banking on a yellow, and even if drivers come into pit road, Merrick Watchorn, Brandon Gregg, they could potentially go with the strategy of just taking fuel only and be all right, while Patrick Hernandez is forced to take tires on this next stop.
Yeah, and they were pretty close to almost 30, 25, 30 laps on their tires. So I think tires are just going to be too key here, and I think Hernandez is going to drop like a rock.
Maybe it was a little bit of a try something different, try something new. And also with the acknowledgement that Doug Tuttle's still 1 lap down, so they're still in the good is Patrick Hernandez at this current moment with 65 laps to go to move on to the next round. And man, will this be a chaotic decision that could ruin the chances of Patrick Hernandez moving to the next round? It's time to find out. We're back under green flag racing. Hernandez takes off immediately as Watchorn just takes a back seat and watches that restart. But to that, seeing Carroll up into the outside wall for the 10, or top about 3, 4, all comfortably moving away, and there goes Watchorn.
Yeah, like good to see the tire, the tire advantage, fresh tires and no tires. So I think Hernandez is just trying to hold on as long as
And Patrick Hernandez is doing just that, running that outside lane, which is really the only spot you can, and almost some contact to the outside wall. A little bit of a brush and rub in action between the 19 and the 2. But for Brandon Gregg, I mean, he's just got the tires. He can make this work, but there's the yellow. Caution's out, and it's going to be the 33 of Doug Betts that brings out this yellow.
It's one thing we're starting to see is a lot of people just get used to how they're running with older tires. As soon as they bolt on the new ones, they're struggling.
You know, another thing I was noticing during practice, I heard it over the radio, was drivers feeling like from the beginning of practice to when it ended, the drivers were given about that of 40 to 50 minutes of practice time before qualifying started up. Was they were saying that this track felt like it was getting looser and looser as practice went on. And I'm curious if that's also kind of attributing to this racing action of drivers feeling like the track's just getting looser. As we see the 33 here, just kind of doing another caution that's brought out all night long, a self spin at turn 2.
Yeah, a really hard hit on that inside wall. More than likely.
And he does have one. He has already used it, Matt. So he is stuck with this damage. That's going to be a disappointing spot. As Jacob Elkins, he'll now coming to pit road. Got the lucky dog that last time by. Most likely going to come in for tires for the 9. As Patrick Hernandez continues to stay out. Still scratching my head on that decision. We've seen a lot of bizarre thoughts on how you want to run this race, but hey, I mean, try different strategies, but for Patrick Hernandez, he really can't try anything too gutsy anymore because Doug Tatel is now out there on the lead lap. This 86 is now in striking distance with having fresher tires than the 19. Try to make a run to be in a position to potentially be in a position to keep himself inside of the playoffs and push the most consistent driver all season long out of the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, if it's kind of going back to that old saying, if you smoke them, God, if you got them, smoke them. With how many fresh tires that they came with, had available, you almost have to take tires. It I know there's not too many people on the lead lap, and you can still stay up there. But now with you know with you know with with Doug, coming back on the lead lap, it's one of those things where if he is in a position, he almost has to come in down pretty soon.
And for that of Turtle, he'll be taking his fast repair as well as going to be getting some fuel tires. And he's going to get back out there on track. We'll start at the end of the line. Thorr being the lucky dog driver. 6 drivers on the lead lap. We're stacking up and getting ready to get rolling here. It's going to be that of Merrick Watchhorn, Patrick Hernandez, Brandon Gregg, Brandon Carroll, and Jacob Elkins going to be your top 5 so far, with Doug Turtle, John Buwalda Jr., John Lynch, Maurice Gomillion, Kyle Smith, Doug Betts, and Dennis Crosby going to be the 12 drivers that are still out there on track. As Riley Barbello as well. Marabello and that of Elliott Drummond are going to be the 2 that have called it a night early. As that of the 91 going to be ready to get rolling here tonight. As the drivers are stacked up. Saw that green flag. It's out. Barney's ready to wave it. So we are coming up to finishing out our second, going to be our 2/3 of the race finished. Pace car is off. And here we go. Back to green flag racing here at the cutoff race at Bristol.
I think now, the guy I have my eye on right now is going to be Jacob Elkins. He's shown speed all season, really being a potential threat each week.
Oh no, behind. It's going to be John Lynch. Going to be spun around after major contact between himself, the 86, and others. And John Lynch trying to get off the track surface, and we will stay green. And no, we won't. The 90 still parked as our leaders drive on by.
Don't they say caution, breathe caution?
Oh, that they do. And this one, pretty wild. 3 wide. We'll see it on the replay. This was some aggressive driving from drivers who just got some fresh rubber, and honestly wasn't really necessary to get this aggressive at this point. If we can get into a long green flag run, these tires will give you an advantage on the long run. But Matt, this might have been a little bit too much.
Maybe potentially a little bit too greedy. John saw a hole, but the hole just wasn't quite there. Got into the back of Buwalda Jr., and Doug just had nowhere to go.
And then John Lynch trying to get in reverse will do so, and then he'll start to move forward, and that's right when the leader showed up, and the yellow flag waves. As now going to see that of Doug Betts call it a night. Now down to just that of 11 drivers out there on track. And Merrick Watchhorn going to be still leading this way. And Patrick Hernandez, I mean, we're inching closer and closer. If we get another immediate yellow, drivers are going to be just on the brink of making it from here on out. So this is when things get into that tricky spot of tires, track position could be a key thing if we get another quick yellow.
Yeah, I think if there's like one more, quick caution, I think we're going to see people, duck down. I think if you're one of the people that are in pit road right now, I think you almost kind of have to. I think I'm really surprised that people were not willing to take the risk to come down and at least top off, especially if you were towards the back of the lead lap, like Buwalda Jr., Tuttle, Carroll. Why not take that risk of coming in, topping off? And I know Tuttle just came in that last caution just before this, so I think he's the guy that could potentially maybe stretch it just a little bit. But I mean, I don't remember exactly the fuel run, but they have to be at least around 5, potentially 6 laps short.
Around that, I think we have 49, almost 50 laps these drivers can go. So even if you topped off now and we got 2 more cautions, you'd then be in the good. I think for that Merrick Watchhorn and other drivers, they might be thinking, hey, if we get a couple of more cautions, kind of banking on those yellows, then they'll be even closer to making it to the end, but that's asking for a lot here tonight. We've seen a lot of yellows, but now we're starting to see more drivers calling it a night, so we might not be getting what you're expecting, as now all the drivers that were once 1 lap down are back on the lead lap. It's now everyone that was 2 laps down or more that are going to be wanting some yellow flags, and first of those will be Kyle Smith in the 55, who will be back in row number 4. We got ourselves 7 drivers on the lead lap. That of John Buwalda Jr. going to be starting deep in the field, as well at the end of the line. Penalty for getting a lucky dog. And then our top 6 all battling it out to see how well can they charge through this field. That of Jacob Elkins going to be on some of the freshest tires out there. Same for Doug Turtle. How well can they run through the field, or will they be trapped behind? Pace car is off. Green flag is out. Here we go into turn number 1. We stay on board watching that of Patrick Hernandez, but behind him, it's the 9 of Jacob Elkins, who looks quick, or will it? Here comes the 86. Doug Tuttle not giving up. He has got some major speed with the freshest tires out there on track. And Matt, we talked about it. You want to have that advantage. The 86 is trying to use up those tires as much as possible now with that grip.
Yeah, absolutely. I kind of right now, if you're Tuttle, you kind of just want to obviously see another caution.
No,
huge wreck at the exit of turn 2.
That of 5, 6 drivers all involved in this one, and it's gonna be drivers, sadly to say, it's the 55 gonna be that of Kyle Smith, just getting too aggressive, trying to get by lead lap drivers and costing Brandon Carroll. So watch this replay and get a sense of what it's like. Matt, watch the 55. It will a heroic dive bomb move. And a driver that's 2 laps down, you don't expect them to make those types of moves on a lead lap driver.
No, absolutely not. And that's a little bit risky, but that's definitely not something you want to see. I know and understand. Like maybe have a better run, but you have to have that situational awareness of everything. But yeah, it's just unfortunate. Lynch had nowhere to go.
And now this puts a lot of things in a weird perspective, because John Lynch has required damage. He's been given what we call the meatball flag. It's a black flag with an orange circle in the middle, given to drivers to indicate you have to come into pit road, get that damage repair. You are not allowed to race anymore until that repair damage is complete. And joining that, John Lynch, Brandon Carroll, as well, Maurice Gomillion. And for the 90 machine, he tried to stay out there as long as possible so that he had the best positioning while coming into pit road. Because if he came out being 11th, there was a chance that we could be seeing Patrick Hernandez bumping out that of the 90 out of the playoffs.
Wow. You just gotta love playoff racing, right? And points, just huge. And one thing I'm actually kind of surprised too is not too many people came down pit road, because we're at that window of being able to make it. And Carroll was the only one on the lead lap to come down and top off, get fuel.
And luckily for that of Carroll, he had required damage on a flag. That got fixed up mighty quick. He's back out there on track because he had the fast repair.
Definitely seems like things have swung in his favor again, but when things were in his favor earlier, he wasn't able to take advantage of it. And we'll see if he can take advantage of it this time.
I mean, I think also it's just the restarts. I think this 10 might be starting out in the wrong gear on these restarts. He gives up so much time, and then by the moment that he catches back up, he's used up a lot of those tires. The heat's a little bit too built up, and then he can't maximize that fresh rubber because everyone else is kind of already ramped up to speed and are in a better defensive spot. So we'll see how well the 10 is going to do on this restart. Going to be starting in 7th place as 7 drivers on the lead lap. Let's see how we can get this thing rolling. It's going to be the teammates up front. Merrick Watchorn, Patrick Hernandez. Then you're going to have Jacob Elkins in third with that of Brandon Gregg. Doug Turtle as well is going to be that of John Buelta Jr. and Brandon Carroll going to be your 7 drivers on the lead lap. As John Lynch, Maurice Gomillion, Dennis Crosby going to be out there, but multiple laps down. Kyle Smith is in pit road, still getting repairs done as we're back to green flag racing here tonight at Bristol.
Like the one thing I am very surprised with is how well Hernandez is with those older tires. Now putting pressure on Watchorn.
You got to think of that heat cycle, Matt. I mean, with so many pace laps that we've been having, it's almost like it's breathing new life into these tires that are going to be 25 laps older than everyone else out on track. The 19 still holds on, but that heat cycle only helps you for so long.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm kind of waiting and watching. I'm very impressed with how patient Brendan Gregg is right now. He's just kind of patiently waiting for his opportunity to make a chance at Hernandez.
And Hernandez now going to be in a tougher spot because if he gets passed by Gregg or Elkins, he will then be pushed back behind that of Tuttle, as Tuttle is just a couple positions back. And all this 86 needs to do be keep just one car in between himself and Patrick Hernandez, and he will find himself going into the next round. 37 laps to go, and these drivers that have been out there on track, it's been for 30 laps on this stint, but we've had plenty of pace laps to allow them to go a couple of more laps longer. But can they make it to the end? Our calculations say no, but they're going to try their best with 35 laps to go when they come across the line.
It's definitely the advantage of making sure Hernandez is defending beautifully by really holding on to that outside line, not giving that out, not giving that inside line a chance to get to his quarter panel, but really taking advantage of that momentum coming off the corner.
And at this current time, I got to say, if this race stays green, watch out for Brandon Carroll. Carroll is looking quick. Now, not faster than Merrick Watchorn, but Watchorn's going to fall off at some point with those older tires than the 10 machine. And Carroll can stay consistent for a while, but he needs this race to stay green, and the 10 needs to start making some moves and passes, as it looks like it is looking impossible to get by this 19 machine, who is doing a great job staying high, defending, and just ramping it off the corner. And Matt, that's been something we've talked about throughout tonight. It's so hard to make passes, as here comes Gregg once again, but he gets slightly loose and loses some ground.
Yeah, I think if you're kind of at that moment where maybe if you really just want to get past this 19 and you're not worried about doing playoff implication type things, yeah, you could push him a little bit quicker into the corner than what he wants to, and that kind of will mess up his line, and maybe you can get a better run through the bottom. But I think if you do want to make a pass, you don't want to be running to the exact bottom like we see Gregg here. You kind of want to run the middle to give yourself a better run out of the corner. Because if you're really trying to push on the bottom, you're just going to burn up your stuff.
And for that of seeing, for Gregg as well as for Patrick Hernandez, they both have fast repair still in their back pocket. Same for Jacob Elkins, but everyone else practically has nothing. And Gregg, once again, losing some time. Tuttle gonna fall in the back of the 2 machine. And he'll now duck it low, trying to get by Gregg. And Jacob Elkins, he'll give an opportunity. Does he decide to use that bumper on the older tires? He'll duck it down low with a better exit out of the corner, hoping with a much earlier apex entry point. And now trying to rip the bottom, stay on the rails if possible, but just too much of a defensive line from the 19.
It definitely seems like Elkins is taking it a little bit. I wouldn't say it's too easy, but he definitely seems to be taking it a little bit too easy into the corner. If you really want to get someone, you got to push in the corner, get that person on the outside a little bit uncomfortable, make it to where they're overdriving that outside, to where they'll have to lift to keep it from getting into the wall.
And now we're starting to see even lap cars closing in on this battle of 4. as John Lynch, he's not going to be afraid to make any passes. The Hyundai machine dives it down low, but underneath the 86. And when you've got lap cars that are more aggressive than the lead lap drivers, that just shows how important each position is. Yes, you want to move up forward, but for that of Greg, as well as Tuttle, they're in some great spots at this moment. They're not in a must-pass situation. The 86 might feel the pressure that he needs to make some passes, but he's all right. As long as Greg makes this pass on the 19, the 86 can lie and sit where he's at.
Yeah, it's just the points right now are just so tantalizingly close that you really want to take advantage of. And hats off to Hernandez for being able to keep his spot up here. As we see him just get a little bit too high and scraping, that allows Brendan Gregg to stay even with him going into the corner. He's going to slide up a little. Oh, he's
in the wall. Need everyone else.
He slams the door shut on Hernandez.
Watchorn into pit road. And spinning around. He holds on.
What a save by Elkins.
And Watchorn's gone into pit road, Matt.
I think right now that is going to trigger to everyone else right now. But if you remember, Braden Carroll came into the pits the last caution. So if he could save a little bit, as you see everyone else, ducking down. If Braden Carroll can save as much fuel as he can by maybe clutching it, into the corner, if he's been doing that this whole run. Because 2 laps is a lot of time for someone to make up to you. If he could save his fuel with him pitting that last caution, that's going to be huge for him right now.
And he's going to be in 3rd place at this current moment, but Carroll's got to be careful because there's some hard racing right in front of him between lap cars. That of Crosby as well as that of Maurice Gomillion continue to race on. Right behind is going to be seeing the 5, but while the junior says, I'm out of this, I'm going to go down into pit. Be staying on the apron and heading into his box as Jacob Elkins and others. I mean, Matt, this is one of those things for John Buwalda Jr. He really just got on the apron. He'll have to coast his way all the way around the track into pit road. For the 9, though, he continues to stay out, but the 10 looking in a promising spot. It is going to be 30 laps on this run. He is right inside the window. The 10 can't make it from here.
This is going to be super close because there's not enough time for those people who are pitting right now to catch you. So you almost kind of really have to go, super safe mode, and you will still be perfectly fine. It's just so close. I think for Elkins, he's kind of hoping for a caution to put himself in a much better position, but it's just so tight and so close right now for the 10.
Jacob Elkins going to be forced into pit road here in just about 5 laps. That's as far as he might be able to go, if not less than that. And here comes Watchorn, squeeze in the middle. Here we go. Beep, beep, coming through. And with that, pass going to be made, putting him down into just 1 lap down from Eric Watchorn. But that of John Lynch, Maurice Gomillion, they're also going to be on the same strategy as Brendan Carroll. And they're right in front of the 91. But for how long? As Carroll takes the lead over Jacob Elkins. Elkins is now going into extreme save mode.
Yeah, but I think like Elkins now dives down to pit road.
10 laps, coming to 9 laps to go. Brandon Carroll's best finish this season was at North Wilkesboro. He finished 6th there. He hasn't got a top 5 all season long. And here tonight, strategy calls. We were puzzled by why drivers just were not willing to go to pit road. And the one that did, the 10, now coming to 8 laps to go. He might be the best spot here, Matt. He still looks in the best spot. And we look at Eric Watchorn, who went 45 laps on his stint. This 10 is right inside that window to make it.
Yeah, the one thing though with you were riding on board with Carroll is he's not using the clutch, so it makes you wonder with him just lifting and coasting a little bit more than than you usually would. It makes it a little bit closer and a little bit tighter on the fuel run.
I don't think it's really even as close as we think it is. I mean, we saw other drivers on that first long green flag stint. Yes, there were a couple of yellow flags that helped out, but we saw those drivers go 48, 49, almost 50 laps on a fuel stint. I think right now this 10 is sitting pretty good. If he's not even worrying about clutching I think he's feeling great. By the time that this
Oh,
stint is,
Elkins moves him out of the
no!
way.
And Elkins immediately over the radio saying, sorry, I think that closing rate's so different. No one was expecting it. Big Carroll's freaking out because if a caution comes out, it's been the short run that's hurt this 10 all night long. 5, make it 4 laps to go.
It is just so close and so tight, but him and John Lynch are on the same strategy. But with how close, Merrick is about to catch and pass, John Lynch, but the one
3 laps to
the
go.
one thing that I'm looking for as well is Hernandez and Tuttle are right next to each other in the standings, so it's huge, playoff implications between those two.
And the big thing, Patrick Hernandez, he has to get by Maurice Gomillion as well as Brendan Gregg, and he's not close enough to make those passes just yet. He's trying to get by that of Brendan Carroll. Carroll crosses the line. White flag is out. This race is official, and Patrick Hernandez makes the one pass. He needs one more position, but we're coming to the backstretch. Hernandez, who's been Mr. Consistent, is about to get knocked out of the playoffs as here comes Carroll, winning with fuel strategy to get it done here at Bristol.
What an absolute drive. When it came down to it and I saw him come down pit road, I knew exactly who was going to win this race if it stayed green from here. And a huge congratulations to Brendan Carroll.
And for Patrick Hernandez, Matt, that is going to be frustrating for the 19. He will be knocked out of the playoffs. Came in outside looking in, and it was not enough. But for the 10, he gets it done and gets to burn it down.
Maybe a little bit of a scare when, when Elkins got into him. But what an absolute, started dead last, I believe, in 14th. And with the strategy call, ended up getting it done.
He started in the back, worked his way forward. There were some poor restarts. We got to see the short run just was not there for the 10. But, Matt, we always talk about some of these races. Most of the time, it's skill that gets you to the end of these races that can get you to victory lane. But strategy and luck also needs to be there, and both were there for the 10 here tonight. Getting his first win of the season, his 4th top 10 finish, and his first top 5 of the season here at Bristol at the cutoff race from that of the round of 8. But after tonight, we go to the round of 6 as we get to take a look here at our unofficial results of this evening. It's going to be that of Brandon Carroll getting it done. The win here tonight. Second goes to Merrick Watchorn, who did his darndest to try to go around this field. With John Lynch, he goes on the same strategy as Carroll, but 1 lap down, which earns him 3rd place. With Brendan Gregg, he'll move on to the next round of the playoffs. Patrick Hernandez gets kicked out because he was not 2 positions up on Doug Tuttle, who's going to be finishing 6th. Then we look at the rest of the results. 7th's going to be Jacob Elkins, who almost brought out the late yellow. Maurice Gomillion, who had to come into pit road there late. Dennis Crosby, multiple laps down in 9th. 10th was John Buwalda Jr., and then the drivers that just struggled here tonight couldn't finish. Kyle Smith, Doug Betts, as well as Riley Marbello and Ethan, that of Elliott Drummond, going to take that last place position here tonight. And Matt, in some of these races, you never know how they're going to finish, but a bizarre one, and it all came down to the fuel strategy at the end.
Yeah, I know. Some people say fuel strategy races are not very exciting, but that was very exciting there at the end.
It was incredible. It was great. It was grand. And we got the drivers ready for interviews. We got 3rd place finisher, that of John Lynch, going to be joining us. What a run for this driver. John, it's Sam and Matt up in the booth. I got to say, for this race for yourself, it seemed like it was a long one. We saw a lot of wrecks here or there. You were involved with a couple of them. But it's 3rd place finish. Congratulations on that. How are you feeling after tonight's run?
I since about 4:30 EST, I've had a head-splitting migraine. And I told Merrick, like, I may just start and park tonight. I cannot focus. Like, I apologize to the 5 there. I absolutely cleaned them out. My head was not in tonight. And then that final yellow, for some reason, no one else pit. I had to take my fastest pair, so I pit, and I'm like, I can make it. And I'm not gonna lie. I may have been venting to my teammate Riley there. I'm like, oh, come on, like nothing went our way tonight. And then I saw Merrick pit. And I'm like, did he play the strategy wrong? I'm like, and then everyone else came in. I'm like, I might have a shot at a podium here. And then I'm I'm speechless. I am absolutely speechless.
I mean, that was the one thing for us of the booth. We were also shocked on the amount of drivers that did not come into pit road either. But you made it. You got top 3 finish. Congratulations with all the struggles of tonight. You move on. And now you're also moving on to the next round of the playoffs. How are you feeling about going into this next round, knowing that there's not just an easy spot to gain, but these final 6 drivers are all still hunting for that championship?
Yeah, I think Patrick just got unlucky there with. I think, don't quote me on that. I think Patrick's the one that got eliminated, and
Yeah, based off our numbers, that's it too.
10-4. That's just unlucky from him. But still, there's still 5 other guys that are super fast that I'm gonna have to go out and beat. It's not like I can just cruise around and go make Atlanta. So, yeah, I'm relieved because I was kind of nervous that I wouldn't make the next round because I would have to park it. But I'm glad I stuck in it, and I mean, here we are sitting in the podium for somehow.
Somehow, some way. Congratulations, John, on this finish. And before we let you go, the floor is yours for any shout outs.
Yeah, I think I got some friends and a couple of friends watching, in Georgia and Tennessee, so I'd like to say hey to them. Want to thank 988. In Michigan, I call them 899. It's 988. The Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. Just a little bit of charity I'm running for September. Moonlight Speed, Spino Design, Spino Mowing, Daytona Racing Collectibles, Yankee Pie Pizza, H52 Photography, and Stevenson Signworks. And of course, you and Matt for putting on honestly great broadcast.
Thanks for being surprised at their great broadcast, John. We honestly, it helps when you guys put on a great show for us as well. That's going to be the 90 machine of John Lynch getting it done. 3rd place. Might have been a lap down, but hey, we'll take a 3rd place at the end of the day. Congratulations and good luck heading to Texas next week.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
As we go from 3rd place, we'll head to 2nd place with the driver that thought he was going to win this race tonight and potentially get another one notched on his belt, but wasn't able to get it done. Merrick, it's Sam up in the booth. You come away 2nd. I mean, you can be proud of that, but what was going on in those last couple of cautions and the thoughts of potentially coming to pit road?
I didn't think anyone pitted, so that's just on me. Just not capitalizing on early pitting, and on that last caution when we were lap like 117 or something. I should have, but that's how it goes, and that's just part of racing. And we just move forward and try to figure out what happens now. And at this point, just one of those things. It's a new driver of the Twigi League won a race that I'm very happy for him. He bamboozled all of us, so congrats for Brendan Carroll. I'll come out of it for 2nd place. I'm perfectly fine with that, but just that caught me off guard completely.
Yeah, I mean, Merrick, I mean, it seems like tonight kind of was an up and down night for a lot of drivers. For yourself, we saw the early troubles of you getting into Riley, and then also just a lot of drivers overall seemed to be very aggressive tonight. Was that a surprise to you on the aggression level being as high as it was from the start of the race to the end?
Absolutely. I mean, it's Bristol, baby. You gotta send it and hope it sticks. But no, everyone was racing pretty clean, racing pretty hard. That first stint after me and Riley got involved, I had a lot of front end damage and side panel damage, so the car was really tight on that first run. So when I came out and basically took the lead from like leapfrogging Elliott, I was able to kind of capitalize on that and just stay out front after that once I got my car fixed. But it's part of racing, man, and it's just honestly just gotta stay clean and stay out of trouble moving forward.
Well, moving forward, we are looking like, based off the numbers that we're seeing, it looks like Patrick Hernandez is going to be the unofficial driver knocked out of the playoffs. I know he was looking like Mr. Consistent for most of the regular season, besides yourself. How does that mentally make you think going into the round of 6, Texas, Richmond, and Talladega? How are you feeling about those races and trying to make the Final Four?
Points are important. Position is important. It's not your win and it's not the win in your in system. It's the just how you do in the points itself, like throughout the round. So moving forward, you just gotta keep your head up and stay out of trouble. Texas is one of my favorite tracks, so hopefully we can get our 12th win and kind of stabilize the points and get ahead of everyone and stay out of trouble. And then just focus on just keeping it clean and focusing on the next 3 races and then go for the championship.
It certainly was a fun one here tonight, and the championship looks to be a great battle that we're getting ready for. Before we let you go, Merrick, the floor is yours for any shout-outs.
Yep, just want to thank my sponsors, the Watcher Medicine Group, Quam Security Alliance, Futuristic Studios, and Caps Vacation Limited Corporation. So really good group of guys of mine on my truck, and just want to thank everyone for coming out. Want to thank y'all for always giving us a fantastic broadcast, and then I guess a drama-filled broadcast at this point. But hey, we move on and hopefully go for next couple of races.
And the drama is always great. That's what Bristol and the playoffs give us, and you guys put on a fabulous show here tonight. Congratulations on a second place finish here, Merrick, and good luck heading into that next round.
Thanks, guys.
As we get ourselves into second place, we head up to talk to the winner here tonight. An absolute spectacular run. And for us of the booth, the only driver that made the right call, and it showed. We got Brendan Carroll, the winner, here tonight in his first Twigi iRacing Series victory here this season and as his career. Brendan, how are you feeling after that one?
Very elated. Wow. To get my first win off strategy and put everybody lap down, I'm surprised more cars didn't come into pit road when I did. I had a great, I had a probably 5th to 6th place truck. I'm not gonna lie, but strategy worked out for me, and in the end, that's what cost everybody else the race.
I mean, that was one of the things that was kind of shocking us. You guys had 5 extra sets. You had plenty of extra sets of tires in pit road to work with. And the fact that no one was taking it seemed like you were one of the few drivers that really tried to maximize your tires when everyone else was off strategy. But at the same point, it seemed like you were struggling on those restarts. What was going on those restarts that was making you kind of lose some time?
Yeah, I was, for a while there, I was in second gear restarting, and then I switched to first, and it's kind of helped me, but then I'd also kind of get loose off the start, so then I switched back to second gear.
That does make sense. That's kind of what we were thinking also up in the booth. But Brandon, we got 4 more races left this season. We got Texas, Richmond, Talladega, and the Old Atlanta surface. How are you feeling about these next 4 races, and could you potentially get your second win this season?
Well, Texas I'm not too good at, but I think Talladega, don't count me out there. I'm a good plate track racer. I finished second there after starting pretty much 30th in another league. So I consider that pretty much my bread and butter.
Well, we hope to see you perform there as you did tonight. As Brandon, before we let you go, the floor is yours for any shout outs.
I'd like to thank Kitty Cat Coin, DCR Chassis. I'd like to thank my parents who are watching tonight, and Merrick Watchman for putting on this great league, and also you guys for broadcasting.
Well, thank you, Brandon, and congratulations on this win. winner here at Bristol, and congratulations on your first win of the season, and we hope to see more throughout the rest of this playoffs. As we continue on, we go from looking at tonight, Matt. We started this evening with 8 drivers that made the playoffs. We are now down to 6. The 6 that came in as the 6 drivers started the night, they stay there with Merrick Watchorn, Elliott Drummond, as well as Jacob Elkins, John Lynch, Brendan Gregg, and Doug Tuttle going to be those 6 drivers still left in the playoffs, and will be battling it out going into these next 3 weeks. Texas, Richmond, and Talladega. Matt, I mean, what are you feeling for the rest of this season?
It just shows you your consistency is just does not quite get you there. But yeah, like you do have the feel for Hernandez. He's driven so well all season. It's pretty much been in the podium positions. You race in and race out. So you definitely do got a feel for him. But hopefully he could show the rest of them why he should have been in that in the top 6 for the rest of the playoffs.
And really, for the rest of this time, it is going to be a hard-fought battle, because these first 2 rounds, you had some drivers that were kicked out or quit the league, so you had a little bit of a buffer to work with. The 6 drivers that are here, though, they've been running the whole entire playoffs, and that means they're going to be fighting and scrapping for every single point possible. We saw Elliott Drummond struggle here tonight. He cannot have that type of a night going into these next 3 races, and nor can the rest, as this is going to get amped up. It's going to be fun. We're heading to Texas, our next destination for the Twigi iRacing series. Welcome to the round of 6. Who's going to make it to the final 4? Those are going to be our next question for the next 3 weeks. And we're going to be giving you all the coverage here on the Blitz Racing Network. For myself, Sam Dyer, for Matt Dyer, we'll see you next week as we head to Texas to see who is going to be getting another win.